You want to get your circadian rhythms in check, and you want to get that melatonin production coming back as well. Most likely, you're going to have to set the clock back in the morning and get up a little bit earlier to be able to get your morning routine, but it is so worth it. And I always ask every single person, what are your non-negotiables or what are your health practices? Many of them will say, I guard my morning and my night practice, my sleep routine and my morning routine. I guard it like, what do we guard? Like a Picasso. I guard it because it's that important. This is StRest. I'm Kerstin Lindquist, health coach, author, and Emmy award-winning TV host. I've committed to helping people reduce stress through impressive health science, attainable mindset change, and biblical truth. Let's have a real conversation with zero judgment and endless solutions that you can use. You aren't alone. You can do this. Let me help you reduce stress and make room for rest. Hey, quick break. You want to know something that I do every single day? I boost. I call it boosting. Not only do I have a delicious protein shake from Vita Hustle every single day, I also boost. I take the vanilla and I put it in my oatmeal or my millet to give it some sweetness, or my non-fat Greek yogurt to give it some sweetness, plus extra protein. Have I mentioned lately how much you need protein? You need protein, but you also need your plants and your vegetables and your superfoods, which there are 86 of in Vita Hustle. I had the chance to work with a lot of different protein brands, and this one wins hands down with ingredients. They are the cleanest. There is no sugar alcohols, very little sugar, and it's all the natural sugar, Whole Foods, quality soil, 5 grams of sugar or less. I talk about it all the time. And it's all from monk fruit and stevia. Plus, you're getting ashwagandha for menopause support and cognition. You're getting biotin for hair, skin, and nails, pre and probiotics, so you don't have the gut problems that you sometimes have with other plant-based proteins. 20 grams of plant-based protein. Do it as often as you can, and it tastes divine. This summer, I think you should try the cafe latte. It has a little bit of caffeine in it, like 100 milligrams, and it's the most delicious treat. Everybody loves the strawberry. I'm a chocolate girl, chocolate, and more chocolate, and I always have to have the vanilla so I can do my boosting. That's a boost. You can get 20% off of Vita Hustle right now by going to www.vitahustle.com and putting in the code Kerstin20. That's vitahustle.com. Put in the code Kerstin20 for something that tastes great, never gritty, not too sweet, all the good ingredients, and it gives you your protein. vitahustle.com. Put in the code Kerstin20. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Before we even get started, I want to say thank you for 6 months. StRest has been on the air for 6 months. I cannot believe it. When I started this, dreaming about doing this podcast years ago, and then really putting everything into motion in October and November during the heat of retail season at QVC, and then going on the air in December. I can't believe that we're here 6 months, twice a week. I thoroughly love being able to give you information and helping you feel better. And I want to still be able to do this. This is 100% a labor of love. I'm not getting paid to do this. In fact, I am paying to do this, and I'm doing it with a joyful heart and being led by the Lord. But I would love to be able to continue to do it. So what I'm asking of you is that you would please share these episodes. Please download, please subscribe, and please write a review. 5 stars would be great, so that we can continue to keep helping people with mindset change, biblical truth, and health science. And with that being said, let's get into this next solo episode of StRest. So we do a lot of science and we do a lot of Bible on this podcast. But what I wanted to do was kind of go back to some of the basics for these next few episodes, solo episodes, because we really need to have you have the foundations before we can go into what type of supplements to take and a deep dive into Zechariah or whatever might be the next thing that we do or the next doctor we talk to. So we're going to start with your day. We're going to start with your morning routine. I frequently say that setting yourself up in the morning, starting with a firm foundation first thing in the morning, is going to set the tone for your entire day. And then more good days will equal more good weeks, months, and just a more joyful life. And my goal for you is to make your faith come alive and to help you gain confidence and create space for joy. So we need to start at the beginning. In fact, I have an entire book coming out in 2026 with Zondervan and HarperCollins called 50 Good Days, which really does set the foundation every single day, how you have a better day. I want to take it a little bit. We'll be talking about your relationship with the Lord and journaling, but I want to start more with the science part of why it's really, really important to set up your morning and why it's super important to have some type of routine first thing in the morning. So it starts with your circadian rhythms. Your circadian rhythm is your 24-hour clock. So if you go back to first man, we wake with the sun and we go to bed with the sun. Farmers are super healthy for the most part because they are on the perfect clock for our bodies, going to bed with the sun and waking up with the sun. I know that that's changed a lot. And I understand that it's really hard, especially when you live someplace in the winter where it feels like it's dark all day long and you've got 4 hours of sunshine. I know it's very, very hard to stick to that type of schedule with kids and with work and so on and so forth. But there's a couple of easy things that you can do first thing in the morning and at night, and we'll talk about night next time, that can help your body kind of stay on track. And the reason that circadian rhythms are super important is because it regulates your hormones. Now, hormones are more than just estrogen and progesterone. Hormones are thyroid and insulin, and melatonin is a big piece of that. I think that's one that you all know. Cortisol is one that we talk about a lot. There's thyroid. There's so many different hormones out there, and they are impacted. And in fact, all of your cells are impacted by your circadian rhythms. So how should you start, and why should you start your day off right, as opposed to just getting up or hitting the snooze 15 times and then rushing to the shower and then rushing to work? Because there have been recent studies that show the fact that our circadian rhythms are so out of line, and the fact that we have forced unnatural light at night that's keeping us awake, that we're working until midnight, that we have blue light constantly, that this disruption in our circadian rhythms and what that's doing to our cells and what that's doing to our hormones is perhaps the biggest healthcare threat out there right now. And when you think about the increase in things like type 2 diabetes, obesity, stroke, cancer, mental health issues, and how they have risen over the decades, it is extremely in line with the rise of cell phones. I'm holding up a cell phone, and computers. I was talking to my daughter last night. And so this is part of the hard, right? When you are a mom or a dad, and especially if you have teenagers that like to come talk to you late at night after you're ready to go to sleep and it's their time to talk. She comes in with her computer because she wants to go through a presentation that she has for school the next day. And she starts asking me about things. Well, when you were in high school and you had to do XYZ, or when you were in grade school and you had to do this on your computer. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, there were none of those. Oh, yes, it was. Windows was created in 77 and you were alive there. And I'm like, babe, yeah, but it wasn't until I was in college that we were really on computers. And it wasn't cell phones. We weren't on cell phones either. And the computer that I had in my house growing up, like in grade school and high school, was like dial up. And I maybe could write or play Tetris on it. That was it. It wasn't in my face all the time like it is these days for everybody. The fact that we're on these computers and on the phones and on the tablets and we have this forced unnatural light, it's messing up our circadian rhythms and it's messing up our hormones. And that leads to messing up our hormones, making us all feel kind of like poop and making the transition through perimenopause and menopause even harder, and on and on and on. It's a snowball effect. So what can we do? We can start with the morning. First things first, you roll out of bed and you get on your knees. It's as simple as that. You roll out of bed and you get on your knees. I have a lot of pillows. I love pillows. And I have one that I like roll up underneath my neck. I have one that I cuddle with. I have one that I put over my forehead. And then I have one that I immediately when I get into bed, take off the bed and I throw on the ground. My other daughter asked me last night, why do you have this pillow that you don't even use? And I said, that's my kneeling pillow. It's my pillow next to the bed so that first thing I do when I open my eyes and I attempt to not have that brain spiraling or have any anxiety, which has gotten a lot better these days, is I thank the Lord. Thank you, Lord. Eyes open, new day, slept well, because I do sleep well. And we'll talk about nighttime routine in a second to get there. But then I slink out of bed onto my knees and I say a prayer. I like a memorized prayer. Some of what you'll see in my new book is linking verses together to kind of create like a memory or a prayer chain. And I like to do the same thing with prayer. So spend some time, maybe one morning in your devotional time, writing out the important things to you that you want to get through to God, or that you want to thank Him for, or that you're praying for, in a short 15-second prayer, and try and memorize it. It comes better to me when I'm on my knees next to my bed, but my prayer goes something like this. I surrender myself to you, my mind, my body, my soul, my life. Guide me, lead me, give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Those three are some of my biggest prayers always. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Help me to be the person that you want me to be. Thank you for Thank you for defending the plan of Satan against my family. Please keep us from harm. Show me who and how to serve. Help me be patient and humble as I wait, because I know that greatness is coming. So that's my morning prayer that I kind of say over and over again. And the first couple of words of it are kind of the most important. I surrender myself to you. The way you set up your day is by surrendering yourself to the Lord first. If you wake up and you reach for the phone, you immediately have hundreds of people screaming and yelling at you. Whether it's positive or negative, it's emails, it's text messages, it's social media. Automatically wires your day for increased cortisol, increased stress, and it doesn't put you on the right foot with the Lord first thing in the morning. So when you open your eyes, and maybe you can't kneel, maybe you can't get next to your bed, get a pillow. Get a kneeling pillow. But the first thing you do is you pray to the Lord. Ask for His guidance over the day. Thank Him for another day. Surrender your day to Him. It takes 10, 15 seconds. But I'm telling you, it's the most important thing that you can do to set yourself up for success in the day, is to not look at your phone first, but roll out of bed onto your knees. All right. So then you get up, you've had your prayer. You're still not looking at your phone. Let's make this very, very clear. No phones have been looked at. In fact, phones should not be next to the bed. They should be as far away from the bed as possible because of EMFs. If you don't have somebody that is depending on you, like I can't turn off my phone or turn on airplane mode, because what if there is, my dad needs me, or sometimes the kids are out, and so I have to leave that on. But if you can, turn on airplane mode so you don't get any of those EMFs. So phone is a way. We have not looked at it yet at all. Brushing teeth, I get it. Go to the bathroom, things like that. Try and still keep the fake light low. If you're waking up when it's dark, which I often do, I still try to keep those lights as low as possible until I can get some actual sunlight, or a sun mimicking lamp, a SAD light, seasonal affective disorder lights. You can get them on Amazon, and that gives you kind of the effects of sunlight, because that's really important for your circadian rhythms. Next thing you should ideally do is go outside. Hopefully it is light out, or you're getting that first light, and you should go outside, and go outside for as long as you can. If it's only 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes. Try 5 minutes, try 10 minutes, try 15 minutes. Try looking at the sun or the rising sun. Nice deep breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Go outside barefoot if you can, so you can ground and you can get your feet on the earth. This is all helping set up your circadian rhythms. So now is the time when we wake up. Now is the time when we start to be present. And here's the exciting part about that. Once you get that first light, and here's the other thing, I would love for you to be getting up at a reasonable hour. 7 o'clock at the latest. 6 would be great. And I know that how much sleep you need and when you go to bed is different. But if you can get up with the sun, that is going to be the best thing for you. I go outside, I let the chickens out. Sometimes I give them some scraps that we might have left over. Sometimes I have to give them water. Sometimes I have to tend to turn on the pool pump. I will go outside and just make sure that I'm getting outside and that I'm getting my feet grounded. Often I will walk down the hill, and back up, get the mail. That's like a quarter of a mile, maybe, probably not even that, but just anything to get outside. When it's freezing cold, I get it. It's so much harder. Still, go outside if you can. Get 30 seconds, get that sun. I call it sun before screens. So you're looking at the sun before you're looking at your screen. Extremely important to jumpstart your circadian rhythms, because once you do that, once you get that first light and your body understands that this is wake up time, your cortisol is going to start kicking, which can be a bad hormone through the day, but it's a good hormone for you to get you going. And it's going to jumpstart your melatonin production. So 12 hours later, you're tired. So if I'm getting first sun at 7 p.m., I'm going to start to get tired. And it's really important to honor when your melatonin production comes, because the older we get, we start to lose that hormone and the ability to create that hormone more. So we want that hormone as much as we possibly can to come to us naturally. So you did sun before screens, and then you did a little bit of grounding. First, we prayed onto our knees, sun before screens, and then you did some grounding. I like hydrogen water next. My bottle, you press a button at the top and it infuses it with hydrogen. I have other friends who are in kind of these circles that like to have 8 to 16 ounces of hydrogen every single day. That's the first glass of water that I will have, will be hydrogen water. We are extremely dehydrated when we wake up. And this is just anecdotally, but I will say over the last couple of months, I have found myself even more dehydrated. And this is from a girl who drinks so much water and electrolytes. I love Buoy. It's one of my favorite electrolytes these days. They're trace minerals. I'll put a link. It's a little squeeze bottle. There's nothing else in it but trace minerals. So it's not chemicals, it's not sweetener, it's nothing. It has no taste. You put it in water, you put it in coffee, you put it in shakes. I put it in everything to get me some potassium, sodium, magnesium. The other one that I love is Element, LMNT, because I like the taste of that one as well. So I'll do hydrogen water and I'll do some type of electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, to replenish myself, because I'm so dehydrated lately, and you're super dehydrated first thing in the morning. And we know that dehydration can lead to obesity and a whole mess of other problems. In fact, I had some blood work done recently, just my usual routine blood work. When I went in the morning, fasted, I had been drinking a lot of water, but she had the hardest time with my veins. The blood stopped pumping. So she had to pull it out, like half of a vial, a mess, and then do another one, like poke me again. And then also my blood work came back a little wonky, like question mark on white blood cells, red blood cells, platelets, a whole bunch of things off. So I have to go back and retest again because I was overly dehydrated. So it can throw off a lot of things in your body. So first thing, lots of water. I like hydrogen water, water with Buoy, electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. None of those things break a fast. P.S. And by the way, if you're fasting, because usually I am fasting first thing in the morning. Here's what's happening to your body first thing in the morning. Especially if you're a woman, your cortisol is rising, which is good. Cortisol gets us up and moving, but we don't want our cortisol to stay high. So that's why the very first thing you do is not, first of all, reach for your phone, because that's a cortisol inducer, but also reach for coffee, because caffeine is going to raise your cortisol levels. The rule is 60-20. So wait 60 minutes after you wake up before you have your first cup of caffeine, and pair it with 20 grams of protein. 60-20. Wait 60 minutes after you wake up to have your caffeine, and pair it with 20 grams of protein. Collagen is what I like in my coffee the most. And collagen protein doesn't break a fast as long as you're just doing straight collagen protein, no flavored, nothing like that. And you're not putting cream. And kind of across the board, when I talk coffee, I talk black coffee. I know there's lots of different things that you can do, and do your own research. I'm a black coffee kind of gal, and that doesn't break a fast, and that's not going to mess up anything in terms of preservatives and sugar and dairy and all these things that perhaps that we don't need first thing in the morning. Before you even have your first cup of caffeine or coffee, I highly encourage you to do lemon water. So I get a huge bottle of like Myers lemon, straight lemon. You can squeeze lemons too. I have got no time for that. So I do the bottle of lemon and water, heat it up, drink it down. So great for digestion, great to get things moving. So you've done hydrogen water, you've done lots of water. Maybe you've done 32 ounces of water. Maybe you've done your electrolytes as well. Then you're doing some lemon water and you're moving. So the next two things to do is get some movement and get some prayer in. And whichever order you like, I'll tell you my ideal schedule. It doesn't happen every single day, but it's my favorite schedule when it does happen is roll out of bed onto my knees before I even brush my teeth. Sacrilege. I run downstairs and I turn the sauna on because it takes about an hour for it to get all the way heated up. Then I come back up, brush my teeth. Then I go outside and get grounded and get the sun before screens. Then I do the water, maybe the lemon water. And then I'll go to prayer. So I will go into my little prayer nook, or maybe you're cozy in your bed this time of year as it starts to get nice outside. So I get more of that first light, the really great magnesium in the air and vitamin D. It's fantastic to be outside in nature. That's going to help calm your cortisol as well. And I'll do my morning devotions. So it can be, I have this thing that I call the first 10, which is what my book's based on, which I ask myself and the Lord. We talk together 10 questions every single morning. It can take 5 minutes. It can take an hour. It really is up to the amount of time that I have. I read a devotional on an app called YouVersion. I'm always doing a plan there, which is like a 2 or 3 minute devotional that gets me in the word. I always get in the word somehow. Sometimes I listen to scripture because that app can also read the Bible to you. Sometimes I'm working through a devotional book. And I'm always writing. If you don't love writing, that's okay. Talk it out with God. If you don't love to talk it out, pray it out, think it out. Make sure that you're being grateful in the morning with your Jesus. You are praying, asking him. You're kind of assessing how you are and what's going to stress you out in the day and how you're going to work through it together. And most important is that you're stopping and you're giving yourself 3 to 5 to 10 to 15 minutes to ask the Lord, what do you want me to know and what do you want me to do? What do you want me to know about today? Speak, Lord, your servant is listening, saying it over and over again, and let him come to you. Because there's a really good chance that he's got some insight into what your day is going to be like and what he wants you to know for the day and what he wants you to do for the day. So that's when I have my time with the Lord. Another app that I love is called Practice Devo. You just open it up, like today's word and definition is insight. It gives you scripture. It gives you kind of a little explanation, and then it gives you a prayer. Takes 30 seconds. So I use the YouVersion Bible app and I use an app called Practice Devo. Both of those are great for you to do your first thing in the morning, speaking with the Lord. Spend that time. It can be 5 minutes if that's all you have. It can be a half hour if that's what you have, but get in that time with the Lord. Yes, you did your 30 seconds on your knees, but that's just the start. I want you to spend some time with God. After that, this is what I do. Now, sometimes you can do them backwards or sometimes you exercise first and then go spend your time with the Lord. It also depends on what my day, like if I need to wash my hair, I know these are important things. If I need to wash my hair and I want it to dry a little bit, sometimes I will work out first, shower, then go spend my morning time as my hair is kind of drying a little bit before I have to go actually dry it. So either way, but where an ideal day for Kerstin is I have done my grounding. So rolled out of bed, did my grounding and my sun before screens, had my hydrogen water, the sauna's firing it up. I'm doing my morning devotion and then I go into exercise. It doesn't have to be big. It's changed for me a little bit in the last couple of months because I've added back in some more cardio because I'm really working on increasing my VO2 max, which is a cardiac measure and a measure of longevity. So I don't usually do more than 20 minutes of exercise first thing in the morning. You can just do 10 minutes of exercise first thing in the morning, but something to get your heart rate up and to get moving. How it looks for me these days is I will usually go for a pretty hardcore run for 10 minutes. Sneakers on, walk out my door and run for 10 minutes. And then I'll come back and I'll do 20 minutes or so of weights. That's my favorite. Day isn't working well. It doesn't look good. Maybe I'll do, and I can't get outside. Maybe I'll do 5 minutes of a nice run on the treadmill. And then I'll do 15 minutes of weights. If I only have 10 minutes, then I'll just do 10 minutes of weights or I'll get on the bike and I'll go as hard as I can. But somewhere between 10 and 30 minutes of exercise and get your heart pumping. Super, super, super important. Let's talk about timing again. A lot of people and a lot of practitioners will encourage you to eat before you work out. I actually do think that there is benefit in that. It doesn't happen for me every single day. But if you can do 20 grams of protein before you exercise, if you're pushing for gains, like if you're pushing to get more muscle, if you have a goal in mind, if this is just like run-of-the-mill exercise, you can do it fasted. But I would love for you to play with how your body feels. You might feel better in your workout if you have a little bit of protein first. Now, what is this little bit of food not? A croissant, even though they're my favorite things. A muffin. It is protein. It is maybe healthy fat. That's what it is. So if we're going to Kerstin's perfect day, I still have not eaten. I do my 20 minutes of exercise. That's when I'm then gonna break the fast, most likely, unless it's certain times of the month. And go back and listen to my fasting solo episode, and you can hear more about fasting with your cycle if you are still premenopausal. And if you're menopausal, you can still sync it, but you'll hear more about what days to push your fast and which days not to push your fast. So there's some days where I won't eat for a while just because I'm in that type of my cycle. So that's when I'll eat. And usually it is millet with protein powder, nuts, and berries. Maybe it's a protein shake. I love to put in collagen into my protein shake for sure, or collagen will go into my coffee because remember, collagen doesn't break a fast. So I like Ancient Nutrition, collagen in my coffee, or boost it into my shake. I like Vita Hustle's my go-to number one because it's got 86 different ingredients, all superfoods. So you're getting great vegetables, 22 vitamins and minerals. So a lot of those are your RDA are taken care of, ashwagandha, biotin, pre and probiotics, and it tastes great as well. So I might do a protein shake, which is boosted. I might just do coffee with my collagen in it and then have a couple of eggs and vegetables. I usually have a whole big thing of vegetables that's already cooked and ready. Sometimes I'll do the millet or the oatmeal with another scoop of protein powder. Again, I'll put the vanilla Vita Hustle in that one. That was my favorite for that. And mix it up because that gives it a little bit of sweetness. So protein is the key here, though. I'm prioritizing protein. After that, it's healthy fats. Again, nuts, avocado. After that, it's vegetables. I like broccoli and spinach and tomatoes. And last but not least, it would be your carbs. But you're getting carbs with your vegetables, so I'm not too worried about that. And a half piece of sourdough toast with some avocado on it. I'm not too upset about that. So having your meal, especially if you've just lifted weights within like half hour to an hour, max 2 hours after your workout is super important. If you're lifting, some creatine in there is a great idea. Creatine for women, we're hearing more and more about is really important. It does not bulk you up. It is going to put water into the muscle, but it's going to give you definition. It's going to help protect your muscle. It's another reason why we definitely need our collagen is because the collagen is protecting us, our muscles and our bones and our joints, and also skin and nails and hair and wonderful things like that. So onto our knees we pray, outside, sun before screens, grounding, doing your hydrogen water. Just drink water, maybe some lemon water, maybe some electrolytes and some buoy. And then you are doing your prayers, 5 to 30 minutes of journaling and devotions and getting in the word and asking the Lord, what does he want you to know about the day? Then you've done some workout, whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you've gotten your heart rate up. Maybe you're lifting weights because you should be doing that at least twice a week. Super important. I'm talking mainly to women who are over the age of 40, but everybody needs to be lifting weights, heavy weights for you as well. And then we've eaten. And again, meal timing is very dependent on you, what you're doing in terms of fasting, what your cycle is. But here's what it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be wake up late as usual, rush to the shower, grab a cup of coffee, get in the car, and forget to eat until 11. That's not fasting. Again, go back and listen to the fasting episode. That's not fasting. That's starving your body and feeding your cortisol. Remember why we want to have a great morning routine is because we want to protect our hormones. But we also want to tamper one of the hormones that ages us the most, which is cortisol. Cortisol is a great hormone to get us up and going and be energetic and be successful, but it also ages us. Excess cortisol in somebody looks like dragged skin, excess belly fat, sickly looking. You want your cortisol to come up in the morning and then go back down. You do not want to come up and stay up. And that's what happens if you fast, because fasting increases cortisol. If you fast too much, if you're running on caffeine and adrenaline and you're constantly looking at that phone, because that's going to mess with your cortisol as well. So then we have our food, hopefully sometime in the morning, unless you're doing a hard fast. And that's going to help bring that cortisol back down and kind of get you set up for the day. We'll be right back. Don't go away. It's just getting good. I do not really have much makeup on, a little bit of lip gloss, and my absolute favorite, Dr. Denise Skin Science. This is her Tinted Defense Day Cream SPF 40. You can see by my bottle that I use it every single day, and this is the supersized bottle, which is what you absolutely need. It gives me the protection that I need because it has SPF. It gives me the blur because it has those pigments. But most importantly, like all of Dr. Denise's skincare products, they actually work. She uses the most of the efficacious ingredients, and they're all clean. You know, I wouldn't talk to you about anything in your skincare or your beauty that wasn't clean beauty. This brand really has changed my skin. Listen, I'm 47 years old. I need a little extra help. I'll tell you where to start. Other than the skin defense, you're going to need Hydra Shield. Oh my goodness, the hydration. It has changed my deeply dehydrated life and makes it look like perhaps I got all the sleep and I have no stress and I didn't cry in the bathroom after my kids went to sleep at night. It really, really works. Everything does. And with clean beauty. And because we want you to have your own midlife glow up and be able to be, I don't know, maybe makeup free from time to time like I am right now. Dr. Denise has given you a little something off. Go to drdenise.com and use the code STREST. That's STREST for a discount. You'll thank me later. Now back to the show. So let's do our recap. We got a great night's sleep, which we're going to talk about next episode. We rolled out of bed onto our knees. You've created some type of prayer for you to say. You go outside, you get sun before screens to jumpstart your circadian rhythms and your melatonin production. Then you've had your hydrogen water or just plain water. You've had lemon water maybe. You're drinking water. You're doing your electrolytes. You're replenishing because you're dehydrated. You are doing some form of either praying and exercising or exercising and then praying. For me, after that, if I have the time, and most days I make the time, that's when I jump into the sauna and I do about 20 to 30 minutes of sauna, 15 some days if I only have enough time for that. The reason why that's so important, it's so great for cardiac, it's great for, which is for your heart. There's studies out there linking sauna use and dementia, less dementia. In fact, some studies are saying that sauna use is as important as exercise. So get in sauna if you at all possibly can. Where does cold plunging come in? I will cold plunge after a workout first thing in the morning, as long as it's not weightlifting, because weightlifting and then if you jump into cold could possibly kind of erase the gains that you made. So if you're looking to create muscle, which we are, because after the age of 35, we have a hard time keeping on lean muscle, and we want that lean muscle on there because we want to protect ourselves from things like sarcopenia, osteoporosis, and falls. And it's also going to help stoke our metabolism and just keep us strong and look good, right? So I'm not cold plunging if I've just lifted weights, which is pretty frequently. I will wait and do that in the evening, or I'll do it on a different day when I'm just walking. But you can sauna anytime. And if you're one of those lucky people who can do both the sauna and the cold plunge, if you can sauna first and then go into the cold plunge, it's actually going to make the cold plunge not as difficult. I've done it the other way as well, cold plunge and then sauna, but I find that I can't get hot enough in the sauna after I've done a cold plunge. So that's for me. Now remember, you have to check with your doctor on all of these things. If you have even a question, if you have a heart condition, if you're pregnant, all of these things are assuming that you are a healthy adult who's doing research. And I'm not a doctor. Always check with your doctor first. So these are techniques that work for me, a healthy 47-year-old, and that I have heavily researched, but that doesn't mean that they are what you should be doing. So when we talk about sauna and cold plunge, I just want to always make sure that you understand that. So I've done my sauna. That's when I take my shower and get ready for the day and go. How long does all this take, Kerstin? I have a life. And don't you have kids? Yes, I do. Understand that there might be a time when I'm like up at 5:30 and I start doing these things, and then I have to pause it at 6:30 to get the kids up and get them moving, and then continue on with my day after I put them on the bus at 8 o'clock, and then I do a little bit more. So you might have to break it up. most likely you're going to have to set the clock back in the morning and get up a little bit earlier to be able to get your morning routine. But it is so worth it. When you listen to this podcast, and last question I always ask every single person, or what are your non-negotiables, or what are your health practices? Many of them will say, I guard my morning and my night practice, my sleep routine and my morning routine. I guard it like, what do we guard? Like a Picasso. I guard it because it's that important. You want to get your circadian rhythms in check, and you want to get that melatonin production coming back as well. So prayer, sun before screens, hydrate, 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 get back into the word and pray, exercise, some type of stress building like sauna or cold plunge if it works for you, and food timing, super important. Remember the 60-20 rule. Do not have that coffee until after 60 minutes from when you woke up, and if you can, with 20 grams of protein so that you don't get too much cortisol through your body, which is going to keep you stressed out throughout the rest of the day. This was a lot of information. And I know so many of you will look at this and listen to this and think, I just don't have the time and there's no way. And that's not my life. So bye. Try one piece. Start this month with one of those pieces. Maybe the first thing you do for these next 30 days is you make sure that you have 32 ounces of water first thing when you wake up in the morning. Maybe the first thing that you do for this next month is make sure that you don't look at your phone until you've been outside and you've gotten some sun before screens. Maybe you just try moving 3 days a week, your workout, 10 minutes first thing in the morning, just 10 minutes first thing in the morning. Pick one and add to it. The most important one I think that everybody can do right now is you can roll out of the bed onto your knees and pray. You can thank the Lord for the day and you can pray. That's an easy one. Spend some time today writing out that prayer and then take it with you, so you do it first thing in the morning. And then meal timing might be the next thing you work on, or not having caffeine right away. Speaking of caffeine, if you love that experience, like I love to sit and do my prayers with a cup of coffee, I'll have decaf because I won't have my caffeine until a little bit later. You can do that, or you can have some tea. Some people like to do a greens drink first thing in the morning. You can do that as well. But play with what works for you to try and keep your cortisol in check, and play with what works for you in terms of eating as well. You should be hungry in the morning. If your hormones are right, if you're in line with your circadian rhythms, you should be pretty hungry in the morning. Now notice, I did pick up my phone to look at my YouVersion app and my Practice Devo app when I was doing my devotions first thing in the morning. That's the first time I looked at my screen. But I will also say this, if it's dark out and I haven't seen first true sun, I will keep my phone in grayscale until I've seen first sun. So once I do finally look at my phone, usually for the first couple of hours, it's in grayscale. And the way you do that, if you're watching on YouTube, or I think you're watching on Spotify as well, is you go into settings. You go into settings. Oh, it's very hard to see on this screen. And then you're going to touch display and text size. And then you're going to go to color filters and you're going to turn them on to grayscale. So I would put your phone in grayscale as soon as the sun goes down at night, and I wouldn't take it out of grayscale until after you've seen first light. Now, the first time that I go onto email or to social media or things like that, other than my Bible apps, is when I get in the sauna or when I'm having breakfast. So give yourself some time. Maybe, my entire routine takes about an hour, 10 to 30 minutes of exercise, 10 to 20 minutes of praying, 20 minutes being in the sauna. I mean, it's not even an hour. Maybe it's an hour. But I'm not looking at my phone for anything other than Jesus until the very end of it, and try and make that kind of a rule with you as well. All right. I would love to know what you think. And I'd also love to know what you're going to do. So in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, or write a review and tell me in the comments as well, what are you going to start with first? Take some notes on these things. I mean, the notes are all right there for you. So you can print this out and take this with you. You can print it out and you can take my prayer with you. You can read my prayer if you want to, but I encourage you to create your own. But let me know which one you're going to do first. Let me know how you're going to start to rearrange your morning practice. And a word to those of you whose mornings are upside down, because I've been there. I was working until 2:00 in the morning, plus I had a 6-month-old baby and 2 6-year-olds in my life. And my husband was working on another coast. So I know what it's like to not have a morning. sometimes your mornings, it's the first of your day. It's the first fruits in the Bible. We give God the first. That's why we go to prayer first. Maybe your morning is in the evening. And so this whole routine takes place while everybody else is going to bed and you're getting ready to go to work because you have shift work. Because this podcast and everything I speak on is mindset change, we need to have a bigger conversation about why you're doing shift work, why you can't get up in the morning, why you can't go to bed at night, why you're working until midnight. These are things that need to be worked on, but you need to give yourself grace and pray about that and spend some time, because I will jump first to, especially if we're working together, I will jump first to how can we get you out of this upside down? Because your body wants to be healthy. It needs to have the right hormones. It needs to be connected to circadian rhythms in order to be healthy. And that means that you have to have your mornings and your night back. If you are a new mom, if you are a caregiver for somebody, that is a season. That is not forever. Those are those times when it's like, it's okay. Do your best. Give yourself grace. You're not doing sauna. You're not doing cold plunge because those are extra stressors on your life, and you do not need to bring extra stress into your life. So if that's why you're upside down, that will end. If you're upside down by choice because you love to stay up late watching TV or working late or you're in shift work, then we need to have a bigger conversation. And I highly encourage you to book some time with me and let's work through that together, because you need to get out of your upside down in terms of your time. Mindset change. This is a mindset change. Remember that. But those of you who are in the season, give yourself grace and pray through it because it will get better. Morning supplements real quick. If you are taking thyroid, there's some studies out there that you want to separate your caffeine in your thyroid. So it's another good reason to take your thyroid medication and then wait an hour. Just one more word about that, because your thyroid you take on an empty stomach and before you do anything else. All right, please write a review, subscribe, share, let me know what you think. But in the meantime, God bless. Coming up on the next episode of StRest, are you feeling overwhelmed, anxiety, really having a hard time loving your life and your blessings? We're going to talk to Becky Thompson. She is the founder of the Midnight Moms devotional community on Facebook, where over 1 million mothers come together every single night to pray. But it's not just for moms. It's for anybody who's in that caretaking season of life, whether it's for the kids or it's aging adults, or maybe you're in transition and you're not quite sure where you should be. I love talking to her because she is a spiritual watchman, and you don't know what that means, but you will once you listen to the next episode of StRest. Don't miss it. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your reviews help others find the podcast and join our community. Follow me on social media at Kerstin.Lindquist for daily tips and inspiration. And visit my website at www.Kerstin-Lindquist.com to sign up for our newsletter and receive exclusive content. The information provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions that you may have regarding a medical condition. The host of this podcast is a certified health coach and medical researcher, not a licensed medical professional, and the content shared does not constitute medical advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, we encourage you to do your own research and consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your healthcare treatment plans. Thank you for joining me on this journey to reduce stress and make room for rest. Remember, you're not alone. Keep coming back, share your story, ask for help, and give yourself grace.